On the one hand, Indian textiles, footwear, gems and jewelry, seafood, engineering goods will get better market access in the UK. Indian agricultural products, processed food industry will find new opportunities in UK's market. This agreement will prove especially beneficial for India's youth, farmers, fishermen and MSME sector. On the other hand, people and industries in India will be able to access products made in the UK, such as medical devices and aerospace parts at affordable and attractive prices.
इस समझौते के साथ ही डबल कंट्रीब्यूशन कन्वेंशन पर भी सहमति बनी है। इससे दोनों के सर्विस सेक्टर, विशेषकर टेक्नोलॉजी और फाइनेंस के उसको एक नई ऊर्जा मिलेगी। ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस को गति मिलेगी, कॉस्ट ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस घटेगा और कॉन्फिडेंस ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस बढ़ेगा। साथ ही यूके की अर्थव्यवस्था को भारतीय स्किल्ड टैलेंट मिलेगा। इन समझौतों से दोनों देशों में निवेश बढ़ेगा और रोजगार के नए अवसर बनेंगे। इतना ही नहीं, दो लोकतांत्रिक देशों और विश्व की दो बड़ी इकोनॉमीज के बीच हुए यह समझौते वैश्विक स्थिरता और समृद्धि को भी बल देंगे।
Along with this agreement, we also have reached a consensus on the Double Contribution Convention. This will inject new energy into the service sectors of both countries, especially in technology and finance. It will promote ease of doing business, reduce from India's skilled talent. These agreements will enhance investments and generate new employment opportunities in both countries. Moreover, as agreements reached between two democracies and two of the world's major economies, they will lend support to global stability and global prosperity.
फ्रेंड्स, अगले दशक में हमारी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप को नई गति और ऊर्जा देने के लिए विजन 2035 जारी किया जा रहा है। यह टेक्नोलॉजी, डिफेंस, क्लाइमेट, एजुकेशन और पीपल टू पीपल कनेक्ट के क्षेत्रों में एक मजबूत, भरोसेमंद और महत्वाकांक्षी साझेदारी का रोड मैप बनेगा।
Friends, to give new momentum and energy to our comprehensive strategic partnership in the coming decade, today we are launching our Vision 2035. Vision 2035 is a roadmap that will form the basis of a strong, trustworthy and ambitious partnership in the fields of technology, defense, climate, education and people-to-people connect.
डिफेंस और सिक्योरिटी में साझेदारी के लिए डिफेंस इंडस्ट्रियल रोड मैप बनाया गया है। हमारी टेक्नोलॉजी सिक्योरिटी इनिशिएटिव को और मजबूत करने पर काम किया जाएगा। It is our commitment that from AI to critical minerals, semiconductors to cyber security, we shall create the future together.
A defense industrial roadmap has also been drawn up for partnership in defense and security. Work will continue on strengthening our technology security initiative. It is our commitment that from AI to critical minerals, from semiconductors to cybersecurity, we shall create the future together.
Friends, शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में भी दोनों देश मिलकर एक नया चैप्टर लिख रहे हैं। यूके की 6 यूनिवर्सिटीज भारत में कैंपस खोल रही हैं। पिछले हफ्ते ही भारत के गुरुग्राम शहर में साउथ हैम्पटन यूनिवर्सिटी कैंपस का उद्घाटन हुआ है।
Friends, in the field of education too, we are writing a new chapter together. 6 universities of the UK are opening their campuses in India. Just last week, the University of Southampton inaugurated its campus in the city of Gurugram in India.
Friends, पहलगाम में हुए आतंकवादी हमले की कठोर निंदा के लिए हम प्रधानमंत्री स्टारमर और उनकी सरकार का आभार व्यक्त करते हैं। हम एक मत हैं कि आतंकवाद के खिलाफ लड़ाई में दोहरे मापदंडों का कोई स्थान नहीं है। हम इस बात पर भी सहमत हैं कि एक्सट्रीमिस्ट विचारधारा वाली शक्तियों को डेमोक्रेटिक फ्रीडम का दुरुपयोग नहीं करने दिया जा सकता। Those who misuse democratic freedoms to undermine democracy itself must be held account. इकोनॉमिक ऑफेंडर्स के प्रत्यार्पण के विषय पर भी हमारी एजेंसी सहयोग और समन्वय से काम करती रहेगी।
Friends, we thank the Prime Minister and his government for strong condemnation of the terrorist attack in Pahalgam. We are united in the belief that there is no place for double standards in the fight against terrorism. We also agree that the forces which espouse extremist ideologies should not be allowed to misuse democratic freedoms. Those who misuse democratic freedoms to undermine democracy itself must be held to account. Our security agencies will continue to enhance cooperation and coordination on matters such as the extradition of economic offenders.
Friends, इंडो-पैसिफिक में शांति और स्थिरता, यूक्रेन में चल रहे संघर्ष और पश्चिम एशिया की स्थिति पर हम विचार साझा करते रहे हैं। हम जल्द से जल्द शांति और स्थिरता की बहाली का समर्थन करते हैं। सभी देशों की संप्रभुता और क्षेत्रीय अखंडता का सम्मान अनिवार्य है। आज के युग की मांग विस्तारवाद नहीं, विकासवाद ही है।
Friends, we have continued to exchange views on peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific, the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, and the situation in West Asia. We support early restoration of peace and stability. Respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity of all countries is essential. Today's era demands development, not expansionism.
Friends, पिछले महीने अहमदाबाद में हुई दुर्घटना में मारे गए लोगों में कई यूके के नागरिक भाई बहन भी थे। उनके परिवार वालों के प्रति हम संवेदनाएं प्रकट करते हैं। यूके में रहने वाले भारतीय मूल के लोग हमारे संबंधों में एक लिविंग ब्रिज का काम करते हैं। They did not just bring curry from India, but also creativity, commitment and character. इनका योगदान सिर्फ यूके की समृद्ध इकोनॉमी तक सीमित नहीं है, बल्कि यूके के कल्चर, स्पोर्ट्स और पब्लिक सर्विस में भी दिखता है।
Friends, last month in the unfortunate plane crash in Ahmedabad, our sisters and brothers of the UK were among those who lost their lives. I would like to express my deepest condolences to the families of the victims. The people of Indian origin in the UK form a living bridge that connects our two nations. They did not just bring curry from India, but also creativity, commitment, and character. Their immense contributions are not just limited to UK's prosperous economy, but are also visible in UK's culture, sports, and public service.
Friends, जब भारत और यूके मिले और वह भी टेस्ट सीरीज के दौरान, तो क्रिकेट का उल्लेख तो करना ही पड़ता है। फॉर बोथ ऑफ अस, cricket is not just a game, but a passion, and also a great metaphor for our partnership. There may be a swing and a miss at times, but we always play with a straight bat. We are committed to building high-scoring सॉलिड पार्टनरशिप। आज संपन्न हुए समझौते और विजन 2035 इसी स्पिरिट को आगे बढ़ाने वाले माइलस्टोन है।
Friends, I would be remiss not to mention cricket when India and the UK are coming together, especially during a test series. For both of us, cricket is not just a game, but a passion. And also a great metaphor for our partnership. There may be a swing and a miss at times, but we always play with a straight bat. We are committed to building a high-scoring, solid partnership. The agreements concluded today and Vision 2035 are milestones which advance this very spirit.
प्रधानमंत्री जी, मैं एक बार फिर आपके आतिथ्य सत्कार के लिए आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। मैं आपको भारत यात्रा करने का निमंत्रण भी देता हूं और आशा करता हूं कि हमें शीघ्र ही भारत में आपका स्वागत करने का अवसर मिलेगा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Prime Minister, I thank you once again for your warm hospitality. I would also like to take this opportunity to extend an equally warm invitation to you to visit India. I am eagerly looking forward to hosting you in India very, very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So there you just heard the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister of UK, Keir Starmer. They're issuing a statement after India and United Kingdom signed a free trade agreement today. In fact, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer called this a landmark deal between both the nations and a start of a new era between India and United Kingdom. Let me go across to Yogesh Gupta, former ambassador, and Aman, who's joining us live from London. Thank you so much to both of you for joining us here. Just a while back, coming to you, Mr. Yogesh, first. Just a while back, Prime Minister and Keir Starmer, as both of them spoke, and both of them called this a landmark free trade agreement. Your first reaction to this?
Yeah, I think it's a very important agreement, both for India as well as the United Kingdom, that has been reached today. Because these are India and the United Kingdom are two major economies. This agreement reflects the spirit of the new trade agreements which is being negotiated by the Modi government, which means that whatever agreements we work out must be mutually beneficial for both countries. As the previous discussion has indicated, this is going to lead to increased trade. This is going to improve trade in services. This is going to facilitate visits of IT professionals, business people, in getting them visas. It's going to help the people who are working in both countries to pay their social security contributions in their home countries. And in numerous ways, this is going to help both these countries in terms of signaling. I think this is going to be extremely important because while some countries like the US, they are talking in terms of protectionism, high tariffs, and so on. China is talking in terms of weaponizing some of its trade items. Here is an example of these two economies, two big countries, trying to work out a trade deal which takes care of their mutual interest, which benefits both these countries, which is not exploitative and so on. So I think on the whole, this is a very important agreement, and the visit of the Prime Minister to UK is extremely important because besides trade, there are so many other areas, the issue of Khalistanis in UK, the issue of, visas for the workers who are visas for the students who are studying in UK, all those issues, and a number of other issues like defense, collaboration in defense, high-tech collaboration in new emerging technologies. All those issues have also been spelled out by both Prime Minister Modi and the British Prime Minister. So on the whole, I would say it's a very important visit, and the results have been really spectacular.
Absolutely, sir. Stay on with us. In fact, I'm also joined by Aman, my colleague, who's joining us live from London. In fact, coming to you, Aman, now this is a free trade agreement that has been signed between India and the United Kingdom that will boost the bilateral trade by $34 billion annually. Give us more details about this agreement.
This is a good day for global Britain and New India, the world's fourth and fifth largest economies. Look, we are two great civilizational nations that are tied together through the bonds of not just heritage and history, but also through shared values of democracy, of freedom and the rule of law, of pluralism. And free trade is a big part of it. Yes, you're right. This is going to boost trade by $34 billion a year. We hope to have $120 billion worth of bilateral trade over the next decade. And this is a real product. Today's free trade agreement this deal is a real product of Roadmap 2030, which was signed earlier by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prime Minister Boris Johnson a few years ago. So it's a real hard work that has got us to this place. And today's announcement of Vision 2035, I think, is a key indicator of where we go next after this FTA. So this FTA is not the end of the road. It's the beginning of a long journey of collaboration and cooperation between the world's biggest, greatest democracy, that is the billion ballot democracy of New India, and the world's oldest democracy here in the United Kingdom. We go from here to the Indo-Pacific. India is a unique partner for the UK and vice versa to keep the Indo-Pacific a free
Absolutely. Landmark deal that has been signed between India and the United Kingdom. Let me also bring in Saurabh Shukla, founder of News Mobile. Thanks so much for speaking to Republic TV. How do you look at this free trade agreement that has been signed between India and United Kingdom? Keir Starmer has called this a landmark agreement. Your first reaction to this?
I think, I consider this as a new strategic dawn between India and the UK. They are great partners. United Kingdom is an important member, a permanent member of the UN Security Council. This deal, if you ask me, is a strategic deal. Not only does it strengthen trade ties between India and UK, make sure it's a win-win partnership for business linkages between India and the UK and also the consumers. Imagine the impact that will give. The Indian consumers will get access to the UK products at a much more competitive prices, and vice versa. The UK customers also get access to Indian exports at a much cheaper price. So it also boosts India's economy. Also, our global standing. I can tell you, this sends a strong message to other countries in the world on India's standing at a global stage. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi's summit meeting today has already heralded a new era in India-UK partnership. And I will tell you, this will also spur countries like the US to fast track the negotiations that are happening between India and the US on the trade deal there as well. So you will see a impact happening there as well, but I would call it a strategic deal, a new dawn in India-UK paradigm of relationship, and it was being negotiated for a long time, and it will benefit consumers and people at large. So I would call it a people-centric deal as well.
Absolutely. This key deal has been inked between India and United Kingdom. Thanks so much for speaking to Republic TV. We'll continue to get you these updates and the visuals that are coming in from the United Kingdom. The deal that has been signed between India and United Kingdom. There on the screen is Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal and his British counterpart. More on this on the other side. Stay with us.
Amity has been ranked amongst the top 3% universities globally, a testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked quality.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
सफल बनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला। MDH।
Look, and we both know this is the biggest and most economically significant trade deal that the UK has made since leaving the EU. And I think I can say that it's one of the most comprehensive deals that India has ever done. So thank you, Prime Minister.
India-UK signed the landmark free trade agreement deal. Starmer hails FTA with India, calls it major win for Britain. Prime Minister Modi hails FTA deal with UK, calls it historic day for both nations. Supreme Court stays Bombay High Court judgment on acquittal of 12 accused persons in connection with the 2006 Mumbai train blast. No arrests or re-arrests to be done. After ED heat on Anil Ambani, Reliance Infrastructure issues first statement, says no impact on business operations, financial performance. The biggest political scoop since Dhankar's exit. Sources say Nitish Kumar has pushed his name for the next vice president. Supreme Court reserves order on actor Darshan in farm murder case. However, Darshan seen enjoying in Thailand for 2 days. A Russian plane AN-24 carrying 49 passengers crashes in Russia's Far East Amur region, burning fuselage of the plane found. All right, welcome again, friends. India and the United Kingdom signed a free trade agreement just a while back. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who's hosting Prime Minister Modi in London, And the two came together to make that announcement. And in that press conference or address, joint address, they both hailed the occasion as a big one for India and the United Kingdom and the world economy. The signing of the FTA is key part of Prime Minister Modi's ongoing UK visit. New Delhi and London concluded the talks in May to reach a bilateral free trade agreement, discussions for which had begun in 2022. And just a while back, we had that announcement coming in. Both leaders absolutely confident that the trade deal would go miles in upping the India-UK trade relationship, not just trade relationship, but in fact, the larger bilateral relationship. Prime Minister there, in fact, spoke about new opportunities in the UK market for Indian products and vice versa. And the signing ceremony there with the Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal there with his British counterpart, and then of course the Indian delegation, which also includes External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. We have Aman Bogle joining us live from London, outside the Parliament there in London. And Aman, all right, Aman, why did the UK Prime Minister call this deal the biggest deal the UK has signed since its Brexit? I mean, what makes it so big or such a big deal for the United Kingdom?
Well, good morning here from Westminster, Abhishek. Look, this is a good day for global Britain and New India, and it matters because this is exactly what the United Kingdom voted for in the Brexit referendum, to take back control of our economic policy, of our foreign policy, of our trade policy. And this is a big Brexit win for the UK. And this is all made possible through the hard work that began under Prime Minister Boris Johnson, under the Roadmap 2030, a real strategic, comprehensive agreement. This free trade agreement is not the end of the road. This is the beginning of a long journey towards bringing our two great nations, our two great civilizational nations, far closer together. And of course, the Indo-Pacific plays a big part in it to keep it free and open. I look at India, New India, as the frontier of freedom, taking on the Chinese communists. And of course, if you look at it, between the border of the United Kingdom, other than Israel in between, India is the only democracy, the only free democracy. So between the world's biggest, greatest democracy, the billion ballot democracy, and the world's oldest democracy, this is a coming together of not just a shared heritage and shared history, but also a shared future that is rooted in shared values. You know, the whole idea of belief in democracy, in freedom, in the rule of law, in the whole idea of pluralism. So it's a natural match, and it's a real blueprint, I would argue. It's a template for the EU to finally get its trade deal done with India, and dare I say, even for the US.
You make a very valid point, Aman, there, because remember, this comes in the midst of talks that are going on between India and the United States, and the tariff war that has been unleashed by President Trump. I believe this is going to be a template for the rest of the world, and that's why Prime Minister Modi traveling there and signing the agreement there for the world to see. Stay with us, Aman. In fact, Prime Minister Modi, while he was making that address, raised concerns over the Khalistani extremists and other offenders or fugitives of law who are there in the United Kingdom. He said, in the presence of Prime Minister of the UK, Keir Starmer, that both the nations are cooperating on the issue of economic offenders as well. Aman, coming back to this conversation we were having. All right, Aman, I'm just coming to you. Let's listen to what the Prime Minister exactly said, his words, and then we have this, we take this forward.
कि आतंकवाद के खिलाफ लड़ाई में दोहरे मापदंडों का कोई स्थान नहीं है। हम इस बात पर भी सहमत हैं कि एक्सट्रीमिस्ट विचारधारा वाली शक्तियों को डेमोक्रेटिक फ्रीडम का दुरुपयोग नहीं करने दिया जा सकता। Those who misuse democratic freedoms to undermine democracy itself must be held account. इकोनॉमिक ऑफेंडर्स के प्रत्यार्पण के विषय पर भी हमारी एजेंसी सहयोग और समन्वय से काम करती रहेगी.
All right, geopolitical expert Saurabh Shukla has also joined us in this conversation. But before I go to Saurabh, Aman, a quick question. This comment of Prime Minister that we are going to discuss the economic offenders and that nobody should be misusing democratic arrangement, he was obviously alluding to the Khalistani ecosystem in the United Kingdom. The delegation level talks are happening now as we speak. Aman, you think that these two issues are going to be two important ones when the two sides talk?
Well, look, Abhishek, sectarian extremism in the UK domestically is a huge issue right now. Ever since the 7th October attacks in Israel, we've seen day in, day out, week in, week out, sectarian marches happening up and down the country, anti-Semitism rearing its ugly head again, Islamist extremism rearing its ugly head. And you know what? It's a real domestic issue and not just a geopolitical one. I've long argued that our sectarian domestic
We lost the line there with Aman. He's, of course, live from outside Westminster in London. And we'll connect in a bit. But let me go to Saurabh now, our contributing, in fact, consulting editor on geopolitics and geoeconomics. Saurabh, do you see messaging from London to Washington, D.C. in these pictures? So you think the Trump administration would be taking note of India's confidence in negotiating these kind of trade deals?
Well, absolutely, Abhishek. Not only Trump administration, I would say this is a message to the world. A message to the world that India has concluded a landmark trade deal, and that's the reason why I call it a strategic deal. Not only does this deal make sure that the trade benefits will accrue, it will also make sure there are strategic benefits. UK is a permanent member of the UN Security Council, plays a key role in global affairs, and India and the UK coming together sends a message to every country in the world on India's growing diplomatic prowess under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership. So that's clear messaging there. Second thing, certainly, it creates an impetus for some of the other trade deals that India is negotiating. Certainly, India and the US, I can tell you, are in the final stages of their trade deal. And certainly, it puts a bit of a pressure on the negotiators because there is a sense of internal competition, if you may say, because they want to conclude the trade deal as well. And India certainly has made it very clear that India will do these deals at its own terms. Prime Minister today clearly is talking about India's security concerns on certain groups, whether in the UK or on other parts of the world, posing threat to India's national security, is also a clear messaging that India will continue to defend its national interests. While it will continue to partner with these countries, the national interests of India will stay supreme. And there is a clear message, also the message on economic fugitives, so that no country is safe for these economic fugitives, and India will bring back every economic fugitive who's running from law. And if you've seen in the past, there are a lot of countries who've extradited these, criminals to India, and you will see more coming back to India, and they cannot take safe refuge in any country. Abhishek.
All right. Thank you so much, Saurabh, for joining us. So we'll keep coming back to you. Also, thank you so much, Aman Bogle there joining us from London. We'll come back to this story, but for now, breaking news development coming in from the Supreme Court, where hearing on the Udaipur files row has now been slotted for tomorrow. The SC bench said that the matter will be heard for about 15 minutes tomorrow. Senior advocate Kapil Sibal appeared for the Jamiyat-e-Ulema-e-Hind and senior advocate Menaka Guruswamy appeared for the accused Mohammad Javed. Senior advocate Gaurav Bhatia appeared for the producers of the film. Let's go to Shambhavi. She's going to join us live from outside the Supreme Court, as also Aditya. But essentially, a final hearing to take place before the Supreme Court gives its mind. Remember, in the last hearing, we had the government come back with a suggestion of 6 cuts or changes in the movie, after which it could be released. But now we hear that the Jamiyat-e-Ulema-e-Hind is not ready to accept that also. So the Supreme Court is going to adjudicate on this fresh plea of the Jamiyat. Shambhavi is now live with us from outside the Supreme Court. Shambhavi, what remains of the hearing in the Supreme Court? We get an impression that we're given to believe rather that the Jamiyat has come back with a fresh petition that they are not going to accept the 6 changes or they are not going to accept the movie, including with the 6 changes that have been suggested by the government. So how things are stacked up in the court before the hearing?
Well, in the objections that was filed from the Jamiyat ends after the government committee's 6 cuts, it was very clearly mentioned they were not satisfied with the cuts made. They said that the cuts were they were cosmetic, and they did not actually consider the main problem, the main issues that were raised by the Jamiyat. And they pointed out various things with the constitution of the committee itself, which was a huge issue today, because they said that in the constitution of the government committee that was responsible for hearing both the parties, that was the screening committee, they said that the constitution of the committee was faulty in its own self. Why? Because there were members from CBFC, and CBFC have political nominees, they have political ties, they have political inclinations. So that did not help to have a non-biased hearing. Apart from this, they also said that in the committee, because the committee should be neutral for them to decide, for them to actually suggest cuts. That is why the cuts that they made were very cosmetic in nature. They did not actually consider. So tomorrow, what we can expect is the Supreme Court has definitely given the petitioner the liberty to move to the High Court if they want with a fresh petition. And what the Supreme Court is going to hear, they very clearly stated today that from tomorrow they are going to hear the case for 10 to 15 minutes. And in that 10 to 15 minutes, they're going to decide that whether the stay on the movie should continue till the petitioner goes to the High Court with a fresh petition, because they are not ready to accept the 6 cuts. Back to you.
All right, so the final hearing in the Udaipur files row to take place tomorrow in the Supreme Court. The Jamiyat has objected to the suggestions coming in from the government, and that's what the top court would look into before pronouncing its verdict. Thank you so much, Shambhavi, for joining us with those details from outside the Supreme Court. Moving on, we are getting a breaking news development, which is that the Asia Cup 2025 is to be held in Dubai and Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. The event would be played between September 5 and September 21. And according to reports, the BCCI would be sending their team for the event. However, the BCCI and the ICC and the ACC are yet to make an official statement on this. And that is awaited now. A total of 8 teams are all set to participate, which includes India and Pakistan, apart from, of course, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, Oman, UAE, and Hong Kong, which means that this move to shift the cup to UAE takes care of the India-Pakistan fixture, which is not cancelled, but is now going to take place at a neutral venue. And we'll try and connect with our reporter, sports correspondent on this. So these are 2 different sports. Okay, we'll come back to that in a bit once we get our reporter live. Moving on for now, and to big development coming in from the corporate sector after the Enforcement Directorate heat on the Anil Ambani Group. Reliance Infrastructure Limited and Reliance Power issued first statement, and which says that there is no impact on Reliance Infra, its business operations, financial performance, shareholders, employees, or any other stakeholders. However, in the stock market, the share of Reliance Infrastructure dropped by almost 5%. The embattled Anil Dhirubhai Ambani Group, which was seen to be coming out of the woods of late, facing another round of action from agencies. And in fact, if you look at what has happened over the last few hours, the Enforcement Directorate has carried out multiple raids in connection with some corporate actions of the group, and which includes about 50 places at 35 locations across the country, and people associated with the Reliance Anil Ambani group facing this action. Over 35 premises, in fact, 50 companies and over 25 persons covered in today's search operations that are carried out under Section 17 of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act by the Enforcement Directorate. Meenakshi, in fact, joins us live from Mumbai for more on this. Okay, Meenakshi, there is a statement that has already come in from the Reliance Infra Group that they are not affected, but obviously some group companies are affected, and that's why the market's reacting on the Reliance Infra stock also. But this is about the larger group companies. Okay, I'll come to you, Meenakshi, in a bit. In fact, we go back to London, from where we are getting fresh pictures of the delegation-level talks that are to happen between the two sides. Before that, the two leaders in a private confabulation now, one-on-one. They have already had one earlier.
एक नए विश्व के निर्माण में बहुत बड़ा योगदान देंगे। 21वीं सदी की टेक्नोलॉजी नित्य नूतन इनोवेशन की अपेक्षा करती है। जब यूके और भारत के स्किल युवा, उनका दिमाग, उनका हुनर जुड़ जाता है, तो विश्व के लिए एक बहुत बड़ी विकास की गारंटी प्रोवाइड करता है। इससे रोजगार बढ़ेगा, एक प्रकार से स्किल मोबिलिटी को बल मिलेगा, और मैं समझता हूं कि विजन 2035 उसको, हमारी जो कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप है, उसको नई गति मिलेगी, नई ऊर्जा मिलेगी। एक्सेलेंस, मैं फिर एक बार आपका हृदय से बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। इस शानदार शुरुआत में भारत और यूके की एक भागीदारी को मजबूती देने में आपकी बहुत बड़ी भूमिका है। मैं आपका बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूं।
All right, those are opening statements before the delegation-level talks. So we heard Prime Minister there commending the role played by the government of Keir Starmer in shepherding this deal from the British side, as the two have announced just a while back the India-UK Free Trade Agreement, the signing ceremony of which happened at the Chequers House an hour back. And after this, there would be delegation-level talks, following which Prime Minister meets King Charles III, and then, of course, emplanes for his return journey via Maldives, where he's the state guest tomorrow on the National Day celebration of the archipelago. All right, we are, in fact, let's cut back again to what the Prime Minister is saying.
बार मिलने का मौका मिला है, ये अपने आप में मैं इसे बहुत महत्वपूर्ण मानता हूं। और यूके और भारत, हम एक प्रकार से नेचुरल पार्टनर हैं। आज हमारे संबंधों का एक ऐतिहासिक दिन है। आज हम दोनों देश मिलकर के पारस्परिक लाभकारी FTA और डबल कंट्रीब्यूशन कन्वेंशन इसको संपन्न करने जा रहे हैं। ये अपने आप में भारत और यूके भावी पीढ़ी के लिए एक बहुत मजबूत रास्ता तैयार कर रहा है। व्यापार और उद्योग के क्षेत्र में एक नया अध्याय जुड़ रहा है। हमारे किसान, हमारे MSMEs, हमारे युवा, मैं समझता हूं उनके लिए अनेक नए अवसर पैदा हुए। इतना ही नहीं, 21वीं सदी ये टेक्नोलॉजी ड्रिवन सदी है। ऐसे में भारत और यूके के युवा, उसमें भी स्किल्ड युवा, ये मिलकर के एक नए विश्व के निर्माण में बहुत बड़ा योगदान देंगे। 21वीं सदी की टेक्नोलॉजी नित्य नूतन इनोवेशन की अपेक्षा करती है। जब यूके और भारत के स्किल्ड युवा, उनका दिमाग, उनका हुनर जुड़ जाता है तो विश्व के लिए एक बहुत बड़ी विकास की गारंटी प्रोवाइड करता है। इससे रोजगार बढ़ेगा, एक प्रकार से स्किल मोबिलिटी को बल मिलेगा और मैं समझता हूं कि विजन 2035 उसको हमारी जो कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप है उसको नई गति मिलेगी, नई ऊर्जा मिलेगी। एक्सेलेंस, मैं फिर एक बार आपका हृदय से बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। इस शानदार शुरुआत में भारत और यूके की एक भागीदारी को मजबूती देने में आपकी बहुत बड़ी भूमिका है। मैं आपका बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूं।
That was Prime Minister Modi sharing more details from the trade deal that has been signed between India and the United Kingdom. Prime Minister thanking Keir Starmer for shepherding from the British side the tough negotiations that went on for 3 years and more. Prime Minister specifically mentioned how the trade deal is going to benefit the youth of the country and the farming sector, given the kind of lowering of tariffs for Indian goods and services that has happened vis-a-vis the British economy. On that note, we slip into a short break but come back on the other side with more on the India-UK Free Trade Agreement.
मैं तनु क्या सी कि अब हमें सेकंड इनकम बिल्ड कर लेनी चाहिए और तुमने वापस म्यूचुअल फंड में पैसे डाल दिए।
ये फिक्स्ड इनकम म्यूचुअल फंड्स है।
मतलब
फिक्स्ड इनकम म्यूचुअल फंड्स मतलब चुने हुए इंटरेस्ट बेयरिंग कंपनी बॉन्ड्स, गवर्नमेंट बॉन्ड्स और मनी मार्केट विच इन्वेस्टमेंट, मतलब रेगुलर इनकम विच वी कैन विड्रॉ फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम।
मतलब म्यूचुअल फंड में फिक्स्ड इनकम वाली बात सही है।
म्यूचुअल फंड निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। योजना से जुड़े सभी दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े। क्या निराला MDH मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
Get up for all things AI, the breakthroughs, the impact, and what's next for India. Join us tomorrow, July 25, for the flagship Republic AI Pre-Summit from the Republic Media Network headquarters. So we bring together the country's top innovators, policymakers, and tech giants as they decode India's AI leap. It's the perfect build-up to the mega Republic AI Summit later this year, and it all begins here.
And we both know this is the biggest and most economically significant trade deal that the UK has made since leaving the EU. And I think I can say that it's one of the most comprehensive deals that India has ever done. So thank you, Prime Minister.
India-UK signed the landmark free trade agreement deal. Starmer hails the FTA, calls it major win for Britain.
मुझे प्रसन्नता है कि कई वर्षों की मेहनत के बाद आज दोनों देशों के बीच कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इकोनॉमिक एंड ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट संपन्न हुआ है.
Prime Minister underscores the hard work that went into the FTA, calls it a historic day for both the nations. Supreme Court stays Bombay High Court judgment on acquittal of 12 accused persons in connection with the 2006 Mumbai train blast. No re-arrest to be done. After ED heat on Anil Ambani, Reliance Infra issues first statement, says no impact on business operations, financial performance. Biggest political scoop since Dunker's exit. Sources say Nitish Kumar has pushed for his name for the next vice president. Supreme Court reserves order on actor Darshan in fan murder case. However, Darshan seen enjoying in Thailand for the last 2 days. A Russian plane AN-24 carrying 49 passengers crashes in Russia's Far East Amur region. Burning fuselage of the plane spotted. Welcome back, friends. The Enforcement Directorate today conducted raids at businessman Anil Ambani's residence in Mumbai. A preliminary investigation revealed illegal loan diversion of around rupees 3,000 crores from Yes Bank, according to ED sources. The agency also found that just before the loan was granted, the Yes Bank promoters received money in their concerns. After the ED heat, Reliance Infrastructure and Reliance Power issued statements which said no impact on their corporations, its business operations or financial performance, shareholders or employees. Notably, the statement also mentions that Anil Ambani is not on the board of the company. In the midst of this, shares of Reliance Infra hit the lower circuit in trade during the day, dropped by almost 5% at close. We have Meenakshi now joining us live from Mumbai for more on this. Meenakshi, are the raids or the search operations of the Enforcement Directorate still continuing? If they are over, do we have an update from the agency on how long this investigation would go on?
Well, Abhishek, it's almost 5 hours have passed, but ED is still conducting such operation in 35 locations, which one of the main location is in this South Mumbai's Reliance main office is Reliance Center. You know, it's situated in Ballard Estate, and I'm outside in this Reliance Center. We know that 50 companies are involved in this investigation and all are under ED radar. We are now Reliance Center, which is the main office and big office of Reliance Communication. And 4 ED officials entered and started their search operation at 10 to 10:30 a.m. we got to know that, and it's a two-storied building. Now staffs are inside in the premises. All staffs are inside in the building, and security already locked the building. You can see the visuals from live visuals I'm showing you. Security has come and locked the whole building, the main gate of this Reliance Center, and it's a two-storied building where staffs are inside, and 4 ED officials and more are inside in this premises. And 5 hours they are conducting search operation. Nobody allowed to enter and exit from these premises, and it's a big office. It's a South Mumbai's big office of Reliance Communication. It's a Reliance Center.
Right. Thank you so much, Meenakshi, with those updates. So clearly the ED is still continuing with its search operations at Anil Ambani Group companies. Though, of course, in a statement, they have clarified that Anil Ambani himself is not on the board of these corporates or corporate bodies under scanner. Moving on for now. And to the breaking news development on cricket. The BCCI is all set to host Asia Cup in the UAE in the month of September. Discussions about the tournament were held in today's Asian Cricket Council meeting. India and Pakistan are likely to be in the same group for the Asia Cup, and BCCI has agreed to host the T20 tournament at a neutral venue because obviously neither India is comfortable inviting Pakistan to play in India, and the Pakistanis also did not want. So that's why instead of India hosting Asia Cup in India, it's going to be hosted in the UAE. Not the first time that this is happening, but BCCI clearly coming to an understanding at the Asia Cricket Council meeting. So the India-Pakistan clash is all set to take place, but at a neutral venue, Dubai or Sharjah or Abu Dhabi, but not in India. We'll try and connect with our reporter, sports team from the digital desk, or someone from the sports world to help us understand how this understanding was reached. Or is it that the BCCI gave in to the Pakistani pressure and agreed for a neutral venue, or is it that this was anyway part of the plan to make sure that the larger tournament is not disturbed and it goes on? We have earlier, India has always refused to play in Pakistan for a good decade and more, and the practice perhaps now making Pakistan move in the same direction. Moving on for now. All right, let's look at some other stories from across the country in Bharat in 1 minute. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami.
1 minute brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami has ordered an SIT inquiry into this scam in the National Scholarship of Minority Students. Dhami said it has been found that the scholarship of the students has been withdrawn wrongly, and even institutions like Saraswati Vidya Mandir have been shown under minority. Delhi's Rouse Avenue Court lists the Enforcement Directorate's complaint on the point of issuance of a notice to businessman Robert Vadra and other accused persons in a money laundering case. This case is linked to the land deal in Gurugram's Shikorpur village. The opposition has upped the ante against the EC's electoral roll revision exercise in Bihar. CPI General Secretary D. Raja slammed the EC's move, saying that the exercise of electoral rolls in Bihar has created immense problems and difficulties for the common people, including poor, Dalits, Adivasis and migrant labour. So this even as 99% of those eligible have already registered or re-registered with the Election Commission. All right, moving on. The Bombay High Court judgment on 7/11 serial bomb blast case that acquitted 12 accused. In the case, The accused, however, won't be rearrested. The Supreme Court essentially staying that verdict of the Bombay High Court. Today, in the hearing at the apex court of the country, Solicitor General of India, Tushar Mehta, appearing for the state of Maharashtra, told the bench that he was not seeking an order to direct the accused persons to surrender, only requesting a stay of the judgment, given larger implications of some observations made by the High Court bench on the larger Makoka cases. Remember, the Bombay High Court had acquitted all the accused and delivered a scathing indictment of the Mumbai Police's anti-terrorism squad, remarking that it had created a false appearance of having solved a case. We in fact have a soundbite of Rajya Sabha MP and former prosecutor Ujjwal Nikam on this. Let's listen to him.
इसके बारे में मेरिट पे मैं आज कुछ बात नहीं करूंगा, लेकिन बड़ी ये चौंकाने वाली बात है कि जिस सेशन कोर्ट ने 5 अभियुक्तों को फांसी की सजा दी थी, 7 अभियुक्तों को आजीवन कारावास की सजा दी थी, वो सभी सबूत मुंबई हाई कोर्ट ने ठुकरा दिए हैं। इसका मतलब कुछ तो कमियां थी क्या नहीं, इसका संशोधन राज्य सरकार जरूर करेगी, लेकिन राज्य सरकार की अपील जो थी सुप्रीम कोर्ट में, वो एडमिट होने के कारण इस फैसले को रोक लगाई गई है। इसलिए इसके मेरिट के बारे में बात करना गलत है, लेकिन जरूर मुझे उम्मीद है कि जो आज रेल ब्लास्ट में जिन लोगों की जान चली गई, उन्हें बहुत दुख होना बिल्कुल स्वाभाविक है, लेकिन आगे चल के देखते हैं कि क्या होता है।
देखिए, बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट ने 2006 में जो बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट, ट्रेन ब्लास्ट हुए थे बॉम्बे में, उसमें जो 11 आरोपी थे उनकी निर्दोष मुक्तता की थी, उनको टोटली बाइज्जत बरी किया था। तो वो जजमेंट के खिलाफ इमीडिएटली महाराष्ट्र सरकार सुप्रीम कोर्ट आई, उन्होंने अर्जेंट लिस्टिंग की मांग की। परसों जस्टिस गवई ने इसकी अर्जेंट लिस्टिंग की मांग मान्य की और आज वो मैटर जस्टिस सुंदरेश इनके सामने था। इसमें राज्य सरकार, महाराष्ट्र सरकार को सफलता मिली है। इस आदेश को सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने स्थगित किया है। ये क्यों स्थगित किया है? महाराष्ट्र सरकार का कहना था ये आदेश दूसरे मकोका आरोपी और कथित आतंकवादी इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि जो 11 लोग अब बाहर है जेल से, वो बाहर ही रहेंगे, उनको नोटिस इशू की जाएगी, उनका रिप्लाई, रिजॉइंडर वगैरह सब होगा और बाद में सुप्रीम कोर्ट इसमें एक तो बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट का जो डिसीजन है वो अपहोल्ड कर सकती है या फिर उसको पलटा सकती है। लेकिन अभी की इम्पोर्टेंट खबर यही है कि महाराष्ट्र गवर्नमेंट को स्थगिति मिली है। लार्जर पिक्चर देखते हुए ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है। हालांकि वो 11 लोग बाहर रहेंगे, वो मुद्दा इतना बड़ा नहीं है, लेकिन दूसरे आरोपी इसका इस्तेमाल ना करें इस जजमेंट का, इसलिए ये स्थगिति मिलना बहुत जरूरी था। और महाराष्ट्र सरकार को बॉम्बे हाईकोर्ट ने जो ट्रेन ब्लास्ट में जो डिसीजन दिया था अभी कुछ दिन पहले, उसके ऊपर स्थगिति मिली है।
बीजेपी से और केंद्र सरकार से पूछना चाह रहे हैं कि कल अगर मालेगांव ब्लास्ट में और महाराष्ट्र सरकार से मालेगांव ब्लास्ट में अगर कल वो भी रिजर्व फॉर जजमेंट है, मिसाल के तौर पर मान लिया जाए जो नहीं होना चाहिए, अगर कोर्ट डिसाइड करेगा कि वो एक्यूज एक्विट हो गए तो अपील करेंगे आप? दूसरी बात ये कि मक्का मस्जिद में ब्लास्ट हुआ था 2008 में, उसमें 8-10 लोगों की मौत हुई, अपील ही नहीं की उसमें। क्यों नहीं की अपील? आप ही की सरकार थी ना, बीजेपी से आपने अपील नहीं की। तीसरा, अजमेर ब्लास्ट का आप अपील नहीं करते। तो ये जो पॉलिसी है, टेररिज्म को रोकना चाहिए, टेररिज्म को खत्म करना चाहिए, मगर अगर सरकार अगर एक्यूज का रिलीजन देखकर अगर अपील करेगी तो फिर ये टेररिज्म से फाइट तो कॉम्प्रोमाइज है आपकी, ये हम बोलना चाह रहे हैं।
Some political reactions there. In fact, Republic caught up with Prabhakar Mishra, one of the victims of the 7/11 local train bomb blasts in Mumbai. Let's listen to what's going on in his mind.
ये तो अच्छी बात है, लेकिन सुप्रीम कोर्ट अगर फिर से जांच करके जो अपराधी हैं उनको पकड़ सके, क्योंकि जो अपराधी हैं तो घूम ही रहे थे, क्योंकि उनके अनुसार ये गलत लोगों को पकड़ा गया, ये निरपराध साबित हुए, तो जो अपराधी हैं वो भी घूम रहे हैं, ये भी छूट गए। वो भी उन्होंने किया था, करते ही रहे हैं, करेंगे भी। अगर वो जब तक पकड़े नहीं गए तब तक सही न्याय नहीं मिलेगा, और जैसा ये तंत्र चलता रहा है चलता रहेगा।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो स्टे दिया उससे खुश हैं?
हाँ, उससे खुश हूँ, बट एट द सेम टाइम उससे सही न्याय की उम्मीद करता हूँ।
बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट ने जब फैसला दिया था तो कहीं न कहीं बड़ा झटका लगा था आप लोग को, क्योंकि आप लोग विक्टिम हैं।
बिल्कुल झटका लगा था, इसलिए कि जो उतना ही झटका लगा था, उतना ही तकलीफ हुआ था जितना 11 जुलाई 2006 को बम ब्लास्ट से हुआ था। उससे तमाम समस्याएं आई, अर्निंग इफ़ेक्ट हुई, हमारी कमाई कम हो गई, घर का खर्चा चलाना मुश्किल हो गया था, और अभी उसका आज तक ही भुगतान है। मेरा राइट ईयर ही 80 to 90% ठीक हो पाया, लेफ्ट ईयर से अभी भी समस्या है बोलने की। अभी भी चलता रहता हूँ, अगर पीछे से कोई आवाज़ आई, चाहे रिक्शा हो चाहे टैक्सी हो, मैं सुन नहीं पाता, बाद में उलाहना सुनना पड़ता है। बहरे हो क्या, सुनाई नहीं पड़ता क्या? किसको मैं बार बार एक्सप्लेन करूँगी ये सब बात? इसलिए इसको ध्यान में रखते हुए फिर से उचित जांच करें, उचित न्याय की उम्मीद करता हूँ।
एक उम्मीद फिर से जागी है?
बिल्कुल एक उम्मीद जागी है, इसीलिए हाई कोर्ट से फैसला उड़ गया, लेकिन ये भी कोर्ट थी, लोअर कोर्ट या मकोका कोर्ट, जिस किसी ने किया था, उम्मीद जगी थी अच्छे लोग, ये अपराधी लोग पकड़े गए, इनको सज़ा मिलेगी तो थोड़ा सा दिल को सुकून महसूस होगा, जिन्होंने जैसा किया पाया। लेकिन हाई कोर्ट के जजमेंट से फिर से वही की वही हालात पैदा कर दी।
क्या मांग करेंगे आप?
बताया, सुप्रीम कोर्ट से यही मांग करूंगा, उचित जांच, सही अपराधी को पकड़ो अगर नहीं पकड़े गए हैं तो। और क्या मांग करेंगे हम? तो मांग अब क्या कर सकते हैं? जो हमारा नुकसान हुआ वो तो कोर्ट से मांग नहीं कर सकते, वो कोई दे सकता है, कोई एजेंसी देवे तो अच्छी बात है।
दूसरा कि जब बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट का फैसला आया तो ये सवाल मन में आया होगा कि आखिर ब्लास्ट किसने किया?
यही तो आया, यही तो बता, अगर इसने नहीं किया तो किसी ने ज़रूर, इन्होंने नहीं किया तो किसने किया? वह क्यों नहीं पकड़ा गया? अगर ये गलत लोगों को पकड़ा गया किसी भी कारण से और फिर से उनको निरपराध साबित कर दिया गया।
All right, the Supreme Court there with a stay on the Bombay High Court verdict acquitting 11 accused in the 7/11 Mumbai train blast case, giving a ray of hope to the victim families and the victims themselves that maybe they would still get justice and the court would find who were the actual culprits. Moving on, we slip at a short break, and coming up on the other side of this quick one, biggest political scoop since Dunker's exit, sources say Nitish Kumar has pushed for his candidature as vice president. And the top court reserves order in actor Darshan farm murder case. However, Darshan seen enjoined in Thailand.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
ED begins biggest crackdown on Anil Ambani. 50 companies, 35 premises, 25 people raided by ED. ED lends on rupees 14,000 crore alleged loan fraud. Debating tonight at 8 p.m.
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
Hi, I'm Abhinav Agarwal, co-founder and CEO at Fluid AI. And I'm excited to be a part of the Republic AI Pre-Summit happening on the 25th of July. We're going to talk all things AI, innovations, the breakthroughs, what's India going to be like in this story. So be there. It's a build-up to the mega event, the Mega AI Summit. And I look forward to seeing you there.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
I'm excited to be a part of the Republic AI Pre-Summit on July 25th, where we will be discussing the India's AI leap, the innovations, the impact, and the future of AI in shaping a new India.
इस साल का जो प्रॉफिट है इंटरेस्ट पे डाल देंगे, हर महीने ब्याज का पैसा आता रहेगा।
अगर रेगुलर इनकम ही चाहिए तो आप वो पैसे फिक्स्ड इनकम फंड्स में डाल दो।
वो क्या होता है?
फिक्स्ड इनकम म्यूचुअल फंड्स चुने हुए ब्याज देने वाली कंपनी बॉन्ड्स, गवर्नमेंट बॉन्ड्स और मनी मार्केट में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं। सिस्टमैटिक विथड्रॉल प्लान से आपको ऑन द डॉट फिक्स्ड अमाउंट भी आता रहेगा।
म्यूचुअल फंड में फिक्स्ड इनकम वाली बात सही है।
म्यूचुअल फंड निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। योजना से जुड़े सभी दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला। from Asia's largest news headquarters. Setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello and welcome. You're watching live and breaking at 5 p.m. with me, Shavinson. Our total focus tonight on business tycoon Anil Ambani, who's now under the lens of the Enforcement Directorate. In a short while from now, we're going to get you more details of the probe that is basically underway. All this and much more. Up first, these are the headlines we're tracking at this hour. India-UK sign the landmark free trade agreement deal. Starmer hails FTA deal with India, calls it major win for Britain.
कि कई वर्षों की मेहनत के बाद आज दोनों देशों के बीच कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इकोनॉमिक एंड ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट संपन्न हुआ है.
Prime Minister hails free trade deal with UK, calls it historic day for both nations. Supreme Court stays Bombay High Court judgment on the acquittal of 12 accused persons in connection with the 2006 Mumbai train blasts. No re-arrest to be done. After ED heat on Anil Ambani, Reliance infrastructure issues first statement says no impact on business operations, financial performance. Biggest political scoop since Dhankar's exit. Sources say Nitish Kumar has pushed his name for the next vice president. Supreme Court reserves order on actor Darshan in Sofa murder case. However, Darshan seen enjoying in Thailand 2 days ago. Russian plane AN-24 carrying 49 passengers crashes in Russia's Far East Amur region. Burning fuselage of the plane found. Gear up for all things AI, the breakthroughs, the impact and what's next for India. Join us tomorrow on 25th of July for a flagship Republic AI pre-summit from the Republic Media Network headquarters. We bring together the country's top innovators, policymakers and tech giants as they decode India's AI leap. It's the perfect build-up to the mega Republic AI Summit, and to top it all, it begins all here. In fact, we're starting with the latest images now coming in from London, where the free trade agreement was signed between both of the nations. Now, these are the latest pictures coming in of UK Prime Minister and Prime Minister Narendra Modi We're going to take you through the latest details with regards to the free trade agreement that has been signed. That's the highlight of the Prime Minister's visit right now. Both the leaders sharing a cup of chai. What you see right now on your screens, these are the latest images. We'll also try and go across to our reporters on the ground, getting us the latest details with regards to the developments that have taken place. In fact, as the Prime Minister's visit to UK comes in, this is the first visit of the Prime Minister after Keir Starmer became the Prime Minister of Britain. In fact, right now on your screens, these are the latest images now coming in from London, where a business meet is basically underway. Certain demonstrations essentially being made right now before the Prime Minister of both the nations. It appears that UK business houses have also been invited at 10 Downing Street, where the meeting has taken place between the Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Keir Starmer. On your screens right now, these are business conglomerates who have now been called in for the meeting with the leaders of both the nations. Also, the highlights essentially taking place right now on your screens of several companies, Indian as well as Britain companies, making a display of their products. Earlier today, the Enforcement Directorate carried out raids at multiple locations, 35 locations where these searches have been carried out. They are now linked to Anil Ambani's group of companies. We've got more details of the probe that is underway. In fact, the Enforcement Directorate is also looking at a loan diversion of 10,000 crore rupees. This is what top sources of Enforcement Directorate have now confirmed, that they are essentially looking at how Reliance Mutual Fund had invested 2,850 crore rupees in bonds of Yes Bank for suspected quid pro quo. Now, these bonds were eventually written down, money that was siphoned off. This was the money of public, the mutual fund investors. In fact, CBI is also investigating the issue. Can we just go back to the breaking plates now with regards to what we have essentially found so far of the big details? Reliance Mutual Fund invested 2,850 crore rupees in Yes Bank bonds. That's breaking number one. Breaking number two now coming in is suspected quid pro quo as bonds were written down. In fact, this is what we are given to understand that the Enforcement Directorate is also looking at. Now, there is also a curious case of another third-party company where 10,000 crore rupees, and this is a scam of 10,000 crore rupees that the Enforcement Directorate is looking at. This is with regards to Reliance Infrastructure, which the ED says that had diverted large sum of money that was disguised as ICDs to group companies of Reliance Anil Ambani group of companies through a C company, an undisclosed related party company, which essentially means this is an unregistered company to begin with. Reliance Infrastructure, in fact, did not disclose which this company is as its related party. Now, this was in order to avoid proper approval from the shareholder and audit committee. It has also hidden, presumably to circumvent checks and balances imposed on related party transaction as per the laws. The details that we have also got is that about 5,480 crore rupees loan, of which only 4 crore rupees was received in cash. Can we have those details on the screens right now of the 4 crore rupees that was settled as cash, and remaining 6,499 crore rupees has been settled in the form of assignment, transfer of assets, economic rights, mainly in certain discoms. These discoms essentially does not have any business which are operational. So we're looking at a 10,000 crore rupees scam. Fresh probe details coming in, ED probing another 10,000 crore rupees scam linked to Anil Ambani's company, Reliance Infrastructure. In fact, earlier today, Pranav, Reliance Infrastructure said that perhaps Anil Ambani has not been a part of the board, and the fact that it does not have any impact as far as the financials are concerned. My sources within the Enforcement Directorate are now indicating that this is not just limited to the Canara Bank loan or the Yes Bank loan. They're also looking at a 10,000 crore rupees scam that they believe was essentially written off.
Well, absolutely, Shawan. In fact, SBI, I mean, just few days ago, we had SBI, which labeled Anil Ambani as fraudsters. So we are necessarily looking at a number of banks. And as the ED rightly said, that this seems to have been a model of systematically siphoning off money. So these are the allegations that the Enforcement Directorate, and it's reflecting in the numbers on the D Street today, shares of Reliance Infra as well as Reliance Power fell by 5%, and trading was in fact halted because they, touched the lower circuit. So yes, investors are not hidden from any of the inside details. So company has denied that, the company has said that Anil Ambani is not on the board of Reliance Power and Reliance Infra, but then the fall in the shares indicates something else.
Pranav, with regards to Reliance now essentially maintaining that Anil Ambani was not part of the board, is that the case? Because the probe is also looking at a period between 2017 and 2019. Was Anil Ambani a part of the board at that point in time?
That time, in fact, the company has in its statement said that this case pertains to 10-year-old. It's a 10-year-old case which necessarily relates to Reliance Communication and Reliance Home Finance Limited, during which period he was on the boards.
Well, let me also quickly go across to my colleague Meenakshi. Pranav, stay with us as we're getting more details, fresh details, only channel with minute-to-minute update of the probe that is being carried out. And remember, 50 companies are now under the scanner. Meenakshi, you're outside Reliance in Mumbai. Are there any details that you're picking up in terms of how the company is basically responding to the searches that are being carried out by the Enforcement Directorate?
Well, Shavan, it almost 7 hours have passed, but ED officials still is conducting search operation in Reliance Center. All staffs are inside, and nobody allowed to go inside and exit from this office building. Let me show you the pictures, live picture we are showing here. All officials, ED officials, 4 officials, we got to know that inside in this building now, and all staffs of Reliance Industries, they are also inside in the building, and we are showing live visuals. ED officials are inside, and security in charge has locked the main gate of Reliance Industries, this office which is situated in Mumbai South Fort area and Balad Estate. This is the big office, 2-storied building. Officials are inside in the building, and we got to know that ED officials has entered this office with some boxes, and they have some documents, and they are checking it again and again, but no confirmation when they will come outside from this building. But they are inside, and still searching operation is going on. Live updates from outside Reliance Center now, Shavan.
Thank you very much, Meenakshi, for getting us the latest details. A quick recap of what we know so far. This morning, Anil Ambani's linked companies came under the lens of the Enforcement Directorate. This after 2 FIRs were first registered by the Central Bureau of Investigation with regards to loans allegedly received from Yes Bank. The Enforcement Directorate thereafter did actually take cognizance of the FIR and registered an ECIR, which is an equivalent of an FIR that has been registered, in which they've essentially stated that the preliminary investigation suggests that Yes Bank had given loan of roughly about 3,000 crore rupees in exchange of bribes that were allegedly received by their officials. In fact, it turns out that the loan money was also written off. A quick recap of what we know so far. Pranav, in terms of the details that we have had from the Enforcement Directorate through the day, can you help our viewers understand as to what exactly is the Enforcement Directorate really looking at?
Well, the Enforcement Directorate today issued a statement. I mean, we had some inputs coming in that one of the things they were looking at is the Reliance Communications alleged loan fraud of over rupees 14,000 crores. The ED has specifically mentioned that it was a well-planned and thought-after scheme to divert, siphon off public money by cheating banks, shareholders, investors, and public institutions. So what it is necessarily, in fact, another case that was mentioned was the Canara Bank, wherein 1,050 crore have been involved. So it's necessarily looking at a modus operandi. If you remember, in 2024, SEBI had also banned Anil Ambani from the capital markets. So there's a larger scheme of things that the investigators are looking at.
Well, thank you very much, Pranav, for getting us the latest details. Getting at some more breaking news right now. Sources within the Election Commission of India have now confirmed that the preparations over the special intensive revision in West Bengal is expected to begin soon. EC sources have told our reporters that the process is going to happen all across India, but will begin from the poll-bound states. Let me also go across to my colleague Gopi, who's joining us from outside the Election Commission office in the national capital, getting us the latest details. Gopi, you're getting an information about the SIR to take place in West Bengal. Why is it that all of this special intensive revision that is being done, they're only from poll-bound states? Is there any rationale that has been given by the Election Commission?
Well, in fact, see, as per the provision and as per the constitutional amendment and the Representation of People's Act of 1951, ECI always has got this provision to do this special intensive revision. Now, this has begun from Bihar. What we have understood from our sources at ECI is, as you've correctly mentioned, that it is going to happen all across India, but it is going to begin from poll-bound states, which includes Tamil Nadu as well as West Bengal. Now, to tell our viewers that on July 21st, it was Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, while she was addressing in one of the rallies in West Bengal, she had said that she won't be allowing ECI to enter West Bengal for SIR. And in fact, she had threatened the ECI that, rallies and protests will happen all across Bengal from July 27th if SIR if at all ECI takes decision to, perform and exercise SIR in the state of West Bengal. But what we are learning from our sources is this is merely to check the bogus and duplicate voters in particular states wherever the exercise is happening, and it is going to happen all across India. While previously as well, it has happened 9 times, and why were no questions raised back then, and why it is happening now? To tell our viewers that counter affidavit has been filed in the Supreme Court by the Election Commission of India, and Supreme Court is also going to hear this matter on July 28th. Specifically to Bihar SIR. Back to you.
In fact, you're essentially indicating that the process is going to begin in West Bengal, and this is part of the constitutional provisions. Remember, this has now become the biggest bone of contention, with opposition parties saying that this is going to impede the election process. In fact, a hint was given by Tejasvi Yadav in Bihar, saying that this is an attempt to throttle this entire system, and in fact there is a hint that came in that they might also boycott the elections. Having said that, sources now indicating that the SIR that has been conducted in the state of Bihar, the process has been completed and it's almost on the verge of completion, and they've been able to carry out the exercise to keep in mind that the genuine voters in the state of Bihar get the opportunity to exercise their rights. Sources now confirming that it's going to happen in West Bengal also. Meanwhile, on 16th of July, the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee had warned the Election Commission of India over the voter roll revision, and this is what she had said: will oppose tooth and nail if the Election Commission calls for an electoral roll revision in Bengal. Listen in to what the Chief Minister had to say.
हम इलेक्शन कमीशन को चेयर को रेस्पेक्ट करते हैं, लेकिन जैसे बिहार में 40 लाखों का ज्यादा आदमी को नाम निकाल दिया और बंगाल में भी करने वाला है, अगर करेगा तो घेराव कर्मसूची करेंगे, पूरा घेराव होगा, पूरा आंदोलन होगा। हम नाम काटने नहीं देंगे, हम नाम डालने नहीं देंगे डिटेंशन कैंप में। हम इलेक्शन कमीशन को चेयर को रेस्पेक्ट करते हैं, लेकिन जैसे बिहार में 40 लाखों का ज्यादा आदमी को नाम निकाल दिया और बंगाल में भी करने वाला है, अगर करेगा तो घेराव कर्मसूची करेंगे, पूरा घेराव होगा, पूरा आंदोलन होगा। हम नाम काटने नहीं देंगे, हम नाम डालने नहीं देंगे डिटेंशन कैंप में।
Bharat 1 Minute brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami has ordered an SIT inquiry into the scam in the National Scholarship of Minority Students. Chief Minister Dhami said it has been found that the scholarship of the students has been withdrawn wrongly, and even institutions like the Saraswati Vidya Mandir have been shown under minority category. Delhi's Rao's Ivory Court lists the Enforcement Directorate's complaint on the point of issuance of a notice to Robert Vadra and other accused persons in a money laundering case. The case is linked to land deal in Gurugram's Shikhopur village. The opposition ups the ante against EC's SIR exercise. CPI General Secretary D. Raj slammed Election Commission's move, saying that the special intensive revision of the electoral rules in Bihar has created immense problems and difficulties for the common people, including poor Dalits, Adivasis and migrant labourers. A major breakthrough for the security forces and government over its anti-Maoist strategy. 25 Maoists have surrendered before the police and administration in Bijapur district. The most prominent among them is Ramanna Ishwar, alias Japli, alias Vinod, a top Maoist terrorist carrying a 25 lakh reward and Orissa State Sub-Zonal Bureau Commander active since 2002. Total, these surrendered Maoists carried a combined bounty of about 1.15 crore rupees. Now, this is part of the anti-Maoist operations that have been carried out. We'll try and also go across to Republic reporter. Before we go across to our reporter on the ground, this is what the IG of Bastar had to say.
छत्तीसगढ़ शासन एवं भारत सरकार की एक स्पष्ट मंशा है प्रतिबंधित एवं गैरकानूनी सीपी मौद्रिक संगठन का खात्मा को बहुत जल्दी सुनिश्चित करते हुए संभाग के अंतर्गत समस्त इलाका में विकास कार्य को गति देकर संपूर्ण बस्तर क्षेत्र का एक सकारात्मक पहचान दिलाने का उसी उद्देश्य से विगत समय में सुरक्षा बल द्वारा लगातार प्रभावी अभियान संचालित की जा रही थी, जिसके परिणाम स्वरूप विगत 1.5 वर्षों में 450 से अधिक माओवादी कैडर के डेड बॉडी अलग अलग मुठभेड़ के पश्चात रिकवर की गए थे। सीनियर लेवल माओवादी कैडर से लेकर डिविजनल लेवल कमेटी, एरिया कमेटी और स्थानीय लेवल माओवादी कैडर सब संगठन छोड़कर काफ़ी बड़ी संख्या में आत्मसमर्पण कर शासन के पुनर्वास पॉलिसी के लाभ उठाने के लिए सामने आ रहा है। उसी सिलसिला में आज दिनांक 24 जुलाई को बस्तर संभाग के अंतर्गत जिला बीजापुर में 25 माओवादी कैडर, जिला दंतेवाड़ा में 15, जिला सुकमा में 5, जिला नारायणपुर में 8, जिला कांकेर में 13, इस प्रकार कुल 66 माओवादी कैडर ने आज हिंसा त्याग कर समाज के मुख्यधारा में आने के उद्देश्य से आत्मसमर्पण किया।
Joining us on this broadcast is Republic reporter Bharat, who's joining us from Bijapur. Bharat, बहुत बड़ी कार्रवाई की गई है और पिछले कई दिनों से हम देख रहे हैं कि लगातार माओइस्ट जो है सरेंडर कर रहे हैं। इसके पीछे रणनीति क्या रहा है और सरकार का क्या कहना है इस पूरे मामले को लेकर?
देखिए, बिल्कुल समझ मैं आपको बता दूं, जिस तरीके से जो समर्पण कर रहे हैं, कहीं ना कहीं सुरक्षा बल की जो कार्रवाई है वो देखने को मिल रही है। देश के जो गृह मंत्री अमित शाह ने जो डेडलाइन तय किया है 31 मार्च 2026 तक माओवाद का समाप्त जो है वो कर देंगे, जिसके तर्ज पे लगातार जो है एंटी नक्सल ऑपरेशन जो है नक्सलियों के आधारशिल वाले इलाकों पे चलाया जा रहा है। इसका एक नतीजा कह सकते हैं, क्योंकि जिस तरीके से जो बड़े पद पे काबिज है SZCM यानी सब जनरल कमेटी ऑफ मेंबर जगदीश, जो कि 25 लाख का इनामी नक्सली है, उससे जब रिपब्लिक भारत ने उससे बातचीत करने की कोशिश की तो उसने स्पष्ट कर दिया जिस तरीके से फोर्स का दबाव देख रहे हैं, फोर्स की जो मूवमेंट है उस पूरे इलाके पे देखा जा रहा है। नक्सलियों की आधारशिल वाले इलाके यानी नक्सलियों के गढ़ में भी फोर्स अब जा रही है, जिस इलाके पे एक समय जाना पॉसिबल नहीं हुआ करता था। उनका ट्रेनिंग सेंटर हुआ करता था, उनका जो कैंपिंग जो होती है माओवादियों की उनकी हुआ करती थी, उस इलाके पे भी अब फोर्स पहुंच रही है। लगातार जो मूवमेंट है वो देखा जा रहा है, इनकाउंटर हो रहे हैं, मुठभेड़ हो रहे हैं, माओवादी को मारा जा रहा है। कई जो माओवादी हैं उनको पुलिस जवानों ने अब तक ढेर किया है। कहीं ना कहीं ये भी एक वजह माना जा रहा है जिसकी वजह से जो माओवादी हैं, बड़े कदर के जो माओवादी हैं वो समर्पण करने के लिए मजबूर हो रहे हैं। 25 नक्सलियों ने आज बस्तर IG पी सुंदरराज के समक्ष आत्मसमर्पण किया है, लेकिन उसमें से एक नक्सली ऐसे हैं जो बड़े पद पे काबिज है, जो कि बड़े नक्सली कहा जा रहे हैं। SZCM यानी सब जोनल कमेटी ऑफ मेंबर, तो बड़े पद पे काबिज है, 25 लाख का नक्सली है वो। ऐसे में उसका नाम जगदीश बताया जा रहा है, जो धर्मापुर का रहने वाला है, बीजापुर जिले के अंतर्गत उस ब्लॉक के अंतर्गत बासागुड़ा थाना क्षेत्र का के अंतर्गत वो रहने वाला निवासी है। ऐसे में वहां से निकल के इतने बड़े पद पर पहुंचना वाकई असंभव जैसे जो चीजें रहती है, लेकिन उतने बड़े पद पर रहकर कार्यरत करना कहीं ना कहीं सोचने वाली विषय है। इन सारे विषयों को लेकर पुलिस भी एक तरीके से बस्तर आईजीपी सुंदरराज ने कहा कि जिस तरीके से जो डेडलाइन तय किया गया है, जिसके तर्ज पे जो ऑपरेशन चलाया जा रहा है, उसका एक नतीजा है सरकार की जो मंशा है विकास, जो विकास लगातार देखा जा रहा है, उसकी वजह से नए नए जो नवीन कैंप वो स्थापित की जा रही है। नक्सलियों के गढ़ में भी ऑपरेशन लगातार चल रहे हैं, तो कहीं ना कहीं जो नक्सली है वो अब उनकी जो रीढ़ है वो कमजोर होते हुए नजर आ रही है। यह भी एक वजह माना जा रहा है कि जो माओवादी है वो आत्मसमर्पण करने के लिए मजबूर हो रहे हैं। यही एक वजह है कि आज 25 माओवादियों ने बीजापुर एसपी डॉक्टर जितेंद्र यादव और बस्तर जो आईजी है पी सुंदरराज सहित सीआरपीएफ के उच्च अधिकारियों के समक्ष उन्होंने आत्मसमर्पण किया है। जी,
Thank you very much, Bharat, for getting us the latest details. Only channel getting you the details from Chhattisgarh. Shifting focus now to the other story that we're getting to you with regards to the online illegal betting apps that is being probed by the Enforcement Directorate. It turns out that actor Vijay Deverakonda has also been summoned once again. This after he did not make an appearance before the Enforcement Directorate despite the first notice being sent out to the actor. Take a look at this report.
After Telugu actor Rana Daggupati, ED has now summoned actor Vijay Deverakonda in illegal betting app scam. Vijay Deverakonda has been summoned in connection with a money laundering probe linked to online betting apps. He has now been asked to appear before the agency on August 11th, following an earlier summon. The ED's action follows FIRs filed in 5 states against multiple celebrities for endorsing betting platforms accused of generating illicit funds worth crores. Names like Prakash Raj, Rana Daggupati were also in the list. Earlier, ED also summoned Rana Daggupati and he was asked to appear before the agency for questioning, although the actor has sought more time before appearing for questioning.
Startling revelations in Gujarat ATS probe on Al-Qaeda model, getting you the latest on the other side. Supreme Court stays Bombay High Court judgment on the acquittal of 12 accused persons in connection with the 2006 Mumbai train blasts. No rearrest to be done.
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar. Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IIHM.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
I'm excited to be part of Republic AI Pre-Summit on July 25th, where we will be discussing India's AI leap, the innovations, the impact, and the future of artificial intelligence in shaping the new India. Hope to see you there.
I'm excited to be a part of the Republic TV AI Pre-Summit on July 25th, where we'll be discussing India's AI leap, the innovation, the impact, and the future of artificial intelligence in shaping a new India.
This is Republic Jack Oliver's studio. Stay tuned for all the breaking news and updates. I am Tanisha Awasthi. Let's get started.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
I'm excited to be a part of the Republic TV AI pre-summit on July 25th, where we'll be discussing India's AI leap, the innovation, the impact, and the future of artificial intelligence in shaping a new India.
Excited to be part of Republic's AI pre-summit happening on 25th July, where we'll be discussing India's AI leap, the impact, innovation, and the leap that India is going to take in AI in the future.
I couldn't be more excited to be speaking at Republic's pre-AI summit on the 25th of July. At this summit, we won't just be discussing what India's AI future could be, but we'll be actually building it together. Join me, other AI leaders, thinkers, builders, as we define India's next AI leap. See you there.
I'm excited to be a part of the Republic AI Pre-Summit on July 25th, where we'll discuss India's AI leap, innovations, the impact, and the future of artificial intelligence in shaping a new India.
Hi, I'm Abhinav Agarwal, co-founder and CEO at Fluid AI. And I'm excited to be a part of the Republic AI Pre-Summit happening on the 25th of July. We're going to talk.
Look, and we both know this is the biggest and most economically significant trade deal that the UK has made since leaving the EU. And I think I can say that it's one of the most comprehensive deals that India has ever done. So thank you, Prime Minister.
India-UK signed the landmark free trade agreement deal. Starmer hails free trade agreement deal with India, calls it a major win for Britain.
मुझे प्रसन्नता है कि कई वर्षों की मेहनत के बाद आज दोनों देशों के बीच कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इकोनॉमिक एंड ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट संपन्न हुआ है।
Prime Minister hails free trade agreement deal with UK, calls it a historic day for both nations. Supreme Court stays Bombay High Court judgment on the acquittal of 12 accused persons in connection with the 2006 Mumbai train blast. No rearrest to be done. After ED heat on Anil Ambani, Reliance Infrastructure issues first statement, says no impact on business operations, financial performance. Biggest political scoop since Dhankar's exit. Sources say Nitish Kumar has pushed his name for next vice president. Supreme Court reserves order on actor Darshan in Renuka murder case. However, Darshan seen enjoying in Thailand just 2 days ago. Russian plane AN-24 carrying 49 passengers crashes in Russia's Far East Amur region, burning fuselage of the plane found. Well, as per sources, the Board of Control for Cricket in India is set to host the upcoming Asia Cup T20 tournament in UAE with a formal announcement expected in a few days. Now, the decision has followed an ACC meeting that was attended by all 25 member nations to discuss the event's venue. BCCI was represented virtually by its Vice President Rajiv Shukla. India and Pakistan are likely to be drawn into the same group for the Asia Cup 2025. In fact, BCCI has also been quoted by news agencies who have now basically indicated that BCCI has given the green signal. In fact, Vice President Rajiv Shukla had attended the ACC meeting and he has briefed the members and they are saying that in a few days from now an official statement will be put out. In fact, BCCI is likely to host the Asia Cup in UAE and India is likely to play all its matches in Dubai. However, the rider essentially coming in from sources within the ACC that there are still deliberations that are going on as far as the scheduling is concerned. The tournament, in fact, will be held for a little over a fortnight in September and it will be concluding in the final week of the month as India's test series against West Indies is also scheduled to start then. Now, this at a time when time and again there have been concerns over the fact that can India really afford to play with Pakistan at a time when Pakistan continues with its cross-border terrorism activities. In fact, infiltration attempts have still being made. Despite that, what we are essentially seeing is that cricket over our soldiers, and what we are essentially looking at right now is that there is mounting pressure on the BCCI to basically act on this. Whether at all they are going to give the go-ahead or not, that's something that one will have to wait and watch. In fact, Pakistan's cricket board has also indicated that they have been in talks with the BCCI and they are essentially saying that there was a possibility that the BCCI, Afghanistan Cricket Board and SLC boycotting the ACC meeting, but that has been averted. Now, without these three permanent test-playing nations, remember, there wouldn't have been much of a quorum that was required for the meeting. The BCCI had essentially requested that they shift the venue, putting its Bangladesh tour in August on hold. Indian board, in fact, is hesitant to travel to neighbouring countries due to the political unrest and lack of a stable government. Shekhar Vijayan is also joining us on this broadcast, senior sports journalist, as well as Himanshu from our digital newsroom. Himanshu, first to you with regards to the ACC meeting that has taken place. However, there is no official statement that has been put out. There are several indications really coming in that they have come to a common ground that if at all it is a neutral venue, India and Pakistan could actually play together. Himanshu, can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. Should I?
Himanshu, what I was asking you was with regards to the ACC meeting that has taken place. There is no official word really coming in from the BCCI with regards to what really transpired in the meeting, but multiple sources basically indicating that if at all there is a neutral venue, then India would go ahead and play with Pakistan.
Now, the Board of Control for Cricket in India has expressed its willingness to host the tournament at a neutral venue. Now, this is a new development, and as of now, after Mumbai attacks, we have not played Pakistan. And to host this at a neutral venue, but India and Pakistan, if they are placed in the same group, they will be playing along. We have played at neutral venues. So this isn't a surprise move by BCCI, but considering the sentiments in India post-Pahalgam attack, this is not going to be an easy thing for BCCI to actually get a nod from the government as well, Shravan.
Well, in fact, whether at all they need a nod or not is something that one will have to wait and watch, Himanshu, because the fact of the matter is that indications are now coming in that the BCCI perhaps is open to the idea that if at all it's a neutral venue, then India would not have a problem. Shekhar, does that really prevent the BCCI from actually giving the nod? Because it seems that they have been under some sort of a pressure.
See, Shravan, I think we've been having this discussion for
quite a long time. The whole idea is, at one point you have the government of India sending out ministers and telling everybody that Pakistan is a global terrorist because they're perpetrating terrorism across the globe. And here you want to go out and play cricket with it, which makes absolutely no sense. Now, you have, the soldiers, you have the citizens, everybody's galvanized. Everybody wants to think about India right now. And here you want to go out and play cricket because there is a commerce angle to it. There is a lot of money involved. There are the boards involved. I feel BCCI has to be very clear about this in terms of whether they want to, parley with Pakistan or not. There has to be a blueprint in place about what is the status quo, how are they going to play cricket with them, if they're going to play. Yes, we understand Asia Cup is not just about India, Pakistan, it's about other teams also. But we're talking about a matter of national pride. We're talking about something which India has taken a stand for the first time, right? And India needs to stand with it. You can't have the government telling one thing and the BCCI doing something else. I think it looks like there are too many islands which are not thinking alike. There needs to be a blueprint in place. There needs to be a clear plan in place in terms of why we don't want to play with Pakistan. And I think the pressure is all coming from Pakistan. It's not coming from BCCI. Pakistan is making all the statements. Their chairman is making all the statements. BCCI is just waiting to see how people would react. It also is an outcome of the public reaction. We have also noticed in the past, whenever the public reaction has been, very, very open and very clear, the BCCI has taken a backward step. The same goes for cricket too. This is something which should not be taken lightly. This is something which should be very serious because why should we even play cricket with them? That's the point. Why should we even engage with them, in terms of sports or in terms of commerce? Because if they're going to be sending terrorists to India, and we're talking about the Belgaum attacks, the attacks before that, this is the first time India has taken a stand. And on top of that, you have the Indian ministers going out and declaring, Pakistan as a global terrorist, which they have done. Then it's very ironic and it's very hypocritical, I would say. You want the country to stand with the army men, with the Navy and Air Force. What about the government? What about BCCI? Why can't they take a stand for once and tell very clearly that we don't want to play cricket with you? India is in the right place right now. India can call the shots in terms of the commerce, in terms of the fact that the BCCI or the Indian cricket team is the icon of the world. So why do they have to worry? It's not like the other nations is just going to avoid them. The fact is India can really call the shots here and decide whether they want to play or not. And be very clear about it. They cannot dilly-dally and wait for things to happen. And then till last minute, they come to a situation that, okay, if security is fine, we will still go and play. Then you're doing this at the cost of, then there's something else in play here. We're talking about commerce, then the money, and then the audience. I don't think it's the right way to go about doing it.
Well, in fact, we're getting some more breaking news now coming in. Himanshu, sources now indicating that BCCI in all likelihood would be issuing a statement very soon. That's the breaking news now coming in. Is there any possibility that BCCI may take a U-turn from what sources are now indicating that in the deliberation that they've had with regards to scheduling of the matches, it seems that all the 25 member nations have agreed on the venue, and in all likelihood UAE would be the venue for all the matches?
Shravan, the commercial rights involved in this case tune up to 170 million. That's with Sony Motion Pictures. And to make a U-turn at this stage will require lot of deliberations. Definitely, there's two camps in BCCI. There's a camp that says no, cricket should go on at neutral venues. There shouldn't be a problem. There is another camp that says we must not play Pakistan, especially at this time when they are sending terrorists to India. So this is a decision between national interest and probably a lot of money.
Well, Himanshu, I'll request you to stay on with us. Shekhar, I'm also requesting you to stay on. Now, there is the other perspective here. Well, there may be camps or whatsoever within the BCCI, but there is a larger national interest here. Major Samarpal Tur is joining us on this broadcast. Major Samarpal Putur, we don't really learn our lessons. The BCCI would largely be interested in the profits that they're going to make by participating in the Cup, in the Asia Cup. In fact, it turns out that they'd put their foot down, saying that we are not going to travel to any neighboring nations, but it seems they're fine. BCCI seems to be absolutely fine. If at all, the venue is shifted, it is at a neutral location.
See, Shravan, there is so much going on presently, with even Pakistan chairing the UN Security Council and resolutions being passed in haste. And so many things are there. But you see, the Hockey Federation, it was sheer luck for Hockey Federation that Pakistan itself opted out from the hockey tournament, which is to be played in India. Now, as far as cricket is concerned, you see, I am calling out to the government again and again that either the government sets up the guidelines pertaining to the recent tensions with Pakistan. And if it is a fight against terrorism, it's a fight against the whole of Pakistan as a nation, because they've been the sponsors and backers of terrorism. So you cannot have khel and khoon. You cannot have pani and blood flowing together. So these things do not go together. Same is the thing for the artists of Pakistan. They are the ambassadors and representatives of Pakistan. So they are part of our enemy state, which has been causing harm to the Indian citizens.
Major Samarpal, too, just request you to stay on with us because we're getting in more breaking news now coming in with regards to what really transpired in the meeting that took place. Official statement is likely to come out very soon, but it turns out that in the virtual meeting, which was attended by the Vice President here, Rajiv Shukla, who was part of the meeting, and thereafter there has been some indications coming in that they have basically come to some sort of a conclusion with regards to the fact that they are open to the idea of actually having the matches in UAE. More indication now coming in that there was a meeting between the BCCI as well as the Pakistan Cricket Board. There have been deliberations that are actually taking place. In fact, Pakistan is now basically indicating that they're waiting for a final go-ahead on this entire matter. But the reality is that the BCCI has actually agreed to host Asia Cup in neutral venue. India, Pakistan, in all likelihood, would be in the same group. And remember, the T20 tournament is going to take place at Abu Dhabi as well as in Dubai. And as far as India, Pakistan are concerned, they are likely to be drawn into the same group for the Asia 2025 Cup. And what BCCI has been indicating is that all hurdles have now been cleared. Whether at all they have got some sort of a clearance from the government, that is not known at this point in time. We are trying to get more details. In fact, we have reached out to multiple office bearers of BCCI who are now refusing to comment on this entire issue because it seems that this has now been made completely public. And the Asia Cup, which was basically discussed during the AGM of the ACC, it seems that something has actually transpired. Some leaks have taken place, but the BCCI has been completely caught off guard. It seems that profits really matter the most for the BCCI because when they were part of the annual general meeting of the ACC that was held in Dhaka, it turns out there was a meeting with the PCB too.
Of these matches, and you see, end of the day, irrespective of any government guidelines coming in or not, irrespective of BCCI's decisions, if the Indian Army and the soldiers' sacrifices and those who lost their lives in the recent terror attacks, if it really matters to the public of India, I appeal that these tournaments should be boycotted. Even if they are taking place in Dubai, no Indian national should go and be an encourager of these tournaments, even if they are abroad. They can watch it even if they are at home, but it will not be tolerated that money is being given, there are profits being shared, and entertainment is happening. And at the same side, you see the flow of blood, you see the violence, and the threat to the Indian soil and sovereignty. Both things will not go hand in glove. I am sorry for it, and I strongly call for the boycott by the public of India. I am not asking the government for anything. I am not asking the BCCI to take any calls. They might have their own pressures, own agendas, own motives, but it is the public now which has to take a call, and it is entirely in the public's interest whether they are by, of and for the nation or they are against the nation. It is surely their actions which are going to speak volumes now.
Well, in fact, more breaking news now coming in. Major Samarpal Tul, I request you to stay on with us. Himanshu is joining us from the digital newsroom. Himanshu, we're given to understand that the BCCI as well as the ACC and the Pakistan Cricket Board in all likelihood are going to meet very soon. They're scheduled to meet, and this scheduled meeting is going to take place for deciding for deciding the venue as well as the tournament schedule.
Yeah. I just want to add something here, Shravan. Uneasy lies the head that wears a crown. Remember, Jay Shah is the ICC president. BCCI is the host of the tournament. It's a 8-nation tournament where multiple countries are involved. Pulling out or boycotting at this moment would require a lot of decisions and huge monetary loss. Now, that is one. Also, second, international commitments. So I think there are hectic parleys on between BCCI and Pakistan officials to actually sort this out, whether they can now, putting them in same group. What this actually means that if India and Pakistan both qualify for the quarter stages, they will not just meet once. There are chances of them meeting twice. And if that happens, that's definitely a gain for the organizers of this tournament, which definitely is BCCI. There is ICC's involvement as well. So that is something that you simply cannot discount at this point of time. I understand these are prior. And now this also, remember, Asia Cup is scheduled as per rotation. So it is India's turn. Now, opting out, they will have to compensate to a lot of countries. They will have to compensate to host, to broadcasters, Sony Pictures, and there are lot many things that goes into it. So I understand, and also if you decide to boycott this tournament now, till how long you are going to boycott playing the multinational tournaments. Also with the Olympics coming up in 2028, India boycotting at this stage might also mean that cricket going into Olympics in LA 2028, there will be different repercussions into it. What if they both go to Olympics? Will India boycott? Now, these are things that need to be thought out, that need to be deliberated, and that's why I think there are two camps in BCCI. There's a camp that wants to play, there's a camp that says boycott, and all these things will be taken into account definitely.
Well, in fact, there is also more breaking news now coming in. The Board of Control for Cricket in India, that's the BCCI, they have essentially identified Dubai and Abu Dhabi as the likely locations. And there is an agreement that has been signed with the Emirates Cricket Board for the use of 3 venues. Only 2 are basically expected to be utilized for the Asia Cup, Himanshu. So more details coming in. They've identified 2 locations.
True. I think UAE is going to be the likely host country in this case, and India will be technical host of this tournament, and there will be some solution where we probably play but at a neutral venue.
Well, Himanshu, I'll just request you to stay on with us as we are just going to take all our viewers through the breaking news now coming in. There's massive outrage over this decision of the BCCI where they have identified 2 locations, Abu Dhabi and Dubai, as and their willingness to host the tournament, what they're calling the neutral venue. This is part of an agreement that they've signed with the Emirates Cricket Board for the use of 3 venues, of which they're willing to basically go ahead with 2 such venues. Earlier, remember, the BCCI had already indicated that they are not going to participate in the ACC meeting in Dhaka because of the current situation or the bilateral strain that it has with Bangladesh. But despite that, BCCI Vice President Rajiv Shukla did actually attend the meeting, the ACC meeting, and now we are being told that there could be a possibility of a follow-up meeting taking place. Himanshu, just help us understand why this sudden change? Because all this while, India has been maintaining that they are not going to play. Is there some sort of a pressure really building in from the commercial side because BCCI has the hosting rights?
Correct.
Is that the reason?
There are 2 things. Rajiv Shukla is known to be the moderate face of BCCI, who is in good terms with, you can say, the PCB officials or like lot of international cricketing boards. So that is one. He has a personal camaraderie with different boards, including the PCB, and also the Sony Pictures, which is now probably who have paid $170 million US. Now that's not less an amount. And if India boycotts at this stage, they will not just have to compensate for that amount. They will also have to pay all the 7 other playing nations with they will have to compensate for the monetary losses the 7 cricketing boards will have to probably face if they boycott, if India boycotts and the tournament is cancelled. And the tournament without India at this stage, I don't think there is any chance at all. So the show, I think the decision in BCCI
Himanshu,
was
we
that...
have just got some breaking